Hey, what's up, guys? It's been about 4 days since I competed. I competed this past week in the Dallas Europa, and I'm moving into my off season. And so today was going to be my back training. And before I started this week off, I tried to just like break down what I really wanted to improve, look at my stage picks, and see what areas really held me back. And when I looked over everything, it's really seemed like, you know, I got beat by like the V taper basically. So anything I can do to make my waist appear smaller and my upper body appear wider. I think that was the biggest takeaway. So moving into off season now, the areas that I really want to improve are just my like lower lat, teres major, and then also side delt and front delts. I think that will give me the V taper that I'm looking for. So when I'm doing my programming for my training, those are areas where I want to try to hit more frequently with more volume. So the plan is to hit back 3 days a week now. It'll almost be 3 days a week with some rest periods in there. It makes back trainings every 2 to 3 days is what it comes out to. So today was one of the back workouts where I'm going to do just mainly for vertical pulling, width. And then I'm gonna have another back day that's gonna be all horizontal rows. And then my other back day is gonna land on a hamstring day. So I'm gonna do a little bit of hamstring work and then also some back work. And I think those flow well together. But for today, so I just did all my vertical pulls. So try to pick movements where I just feel the contraction the best. That was what guided me in selecting the ones I did. I think that's what you should do too. So for my first exercise, and still, if you've been following me how I do things, is my first two compound movements or lifts I'm going to be trying to really improve in the off season. So I started with a pull down using a wide mag grip. I like this one for when the handles are very ergonomic, and then also it keeps the elbows in a good position and you can really drive them into your sides coming down. I don't feel it quite very lower lat. I do try to pull and have that bar come down right at sternum level, and but I do feel a lot in the teres major. So it's just a good contraction, so I liked starting with that one. Just worked up to a hard set of 10 and then backed off in weight on my second set for a set of 15 reps. And this whole off season I'm going to try to really slow down the eccentric phase and make sure I can really contract the muscle and lengthen it out under load. So just a more controlled movement. Obviously the concentric phase can be explosive, but I want to make sure, like on my back moves, I'm not just like swinging down and I couldn't hold it down there and control it back up. So I think the eccentric phase, and then also for back moves, getting into that full stretch position on top and pulling from that is where you can really get your greatest contractions in the back. So moving on from there, I went to another vertical pull using just single handles that could kind of spread apart. So I just hooked up a chain and had two single handles that I could start from like a neutral grip and then supinate as I contracted down. And I think that gets the best contraction for your lower lat. Anytime your elbow's out in front of the body and you're having shoulder extension, driving the elbows back towards the hip, that's when you can hit the most lower lat contraction. So just a different angle, trying to target the whole entire lat is what I'm doing. And I do like those cables because they really just move where you want them to, so you're not restricted in this fixed position. What I've done that one was just worked up to a hard set of like 12 reps. I stuck with the same weight and just did 2 more sets with it to failure. So as soon as I couldn't get my hands all the way back as from when I started the movement, that was my failure point. So next moves I moved on to is just doing a pull-up. So I'm going to try to add pull-ups back in. I'm heavy, so I can't do a lot of reps, but I used a band to give some assistance so I could get higher reps on it. And I think the pull-up, you can get a really deep stretch and pull out of that. And I worked in a neutral hand position. So all the hand positions are different that I'm pulling from. So I have like a wide neutral, then a supinated narrow grip, and then now this one's more of a medium neutral grip. And on this one I just did 2 sets, as many reps as I can get. So with the band I think I hit 20 reps on the first set, and the second set I did 13. And I like using the band because it's much more controlled than like flailing around trying to get reps doing a pull-up. So I prefer having a very controlled and being able to control that negative and get all the way up, and using the band to get those extra reps in. Last move for my lat work was a cable pullover on an incline bench. I do like using the incline bench. It really fixes your shoulder blades in place, so you're not going to have any torso swing. You can also really retract the scapulas and depress them, so make sure your shoulders aren't rolling over. A lot of people do that when they're doing lat pull downs, just takes the lat completely out of it. And I used a cable attachment that can easily spread apart, and it just it will be able to maneuver to however your mechanics are, so you're not as fixed as like some of these straight bars or something like that. And idea is just get the full stretch and bring the hands all the way back, driving the elbows down into my sides, and that should give like the best tension throughout the full range of motion. And staying higher reps on these too, so just did 2 sets aiming for about 15 to 20 reps on both. So that concluded just my lat work. So start off with some heavy compound moves, and then moving into some compound and an isometric and a isolation exercise that I could get higher reps on, more metabolic work. From there, I just went into my rear delts, which my rear delts are stronger points for me, so I don't need a lot of volume on them. I just did a rear pec deck fly for 3 straight sets, starting the reps up high. I think rear delts respond really well to high reps, so I did like 25 reps on the first set, stayed with the same weight, and the reps dropped down on the subsequent set. So I think I hit like 16 reps on the second one, then around 12 reps on my third set. The last thing for rear delts was just a cable rope face pull, and I like doing them seated because I feel like I am more controlled and stabilized, and just making sure I'm pulling back, hands are going right by the eyes, and I'm really trying to spread that rope apart. And I just did 1 double drop set, so hit 15 reps, drop weight, hit 15 reps, and then drop weight and hit a last 15 reps. And man, it really burns them out. You really just need 1 set of that. And for me, that was 4 total work sets for rear delts, which is plenty considering that they're stronger points. And then lastly, I moved on to bicep exercise, and I'm only doing 1 bicep exercise because biceps are a stronger point for me. So I tell you guys, like, whenever you're programming your workouts, you really need to think about where you want to put more volume in and where you want to take volume back on, so your strong points. So you can't just do more sets and on every single muscle group and train everything, because you just will overtrain. So like for me, like I can back off on legs. I know I can back off on biceps and chest because chest has come up a lot for me. Then I can put more volume into shoulders and back. So you need to think about those things when you're building your workouts. So for me, I moved on to biceps last, and all I did was a preacher curl machine, and I just did 3 straight sets on it, and that's plenty to maintain my bicep size, because I do have a limitation on how much size I can put on. I have to stay 212, so that size just can't just be thrown on in as much as I can possible everywhere. It needs to be very direct and deliberate. So more volume for back and for delts. That'll be the focus. And also this off season I'm going to work on my abs more. I've been neglectful of them and haven't trained them as much, and I think it really showed on stage. So I'm definitely going to be hitting abs. If they're not sore, I'm training them basically. So that wrapped up my vertical pulling back day. Stay tuned, guys. I'm going to show you some more workouts in the off season. If you have questions on the workout, or just leave any comments in the description below, I can make sure I answer those for you guys. And we will talk to you next time.